Farmers are tough. I'm just gonna say it, farmers are like the toughest people on the face of the earth. If we cut ourselves, we don't take 5 minutes to go into the house to get a Band-Aid. Now we take electrical tape and a piece of paper towel and we wrap it up. I mean, if we break our arm, we don't even go to the doctor because he's just gonna tell us that we can't use it. And what do we really need to use the arm for when we can steer our tractor using the brakes? This John Wayne attitude does unfortunately overflow into other parts of our lives. Mental health is one of the biggest taboos in agriculture. We just don't talk about it. And we sure as heck don't ever admit that we're struggling with it. And I get it, for generations that's just always the way it's been. You don't talk about it, you plow through it, you just put your head down and work. You don't worry about being depressed or being anxious, you ignore it. That's not the way to handle it. I remember the first time I interviewed someone on the podcast that openly talked about being depressed and having anxiety and seeking treatment for it. I couldn't believe how transparent she was. It was just so different. She was so brave, she was so honest. I remember laying in bed the night before that podcast came out. I was nervous. I couldn't sleep. I was afraid of what the feedback was going to be. I was afraid of being made fun of for putting out something like that. As that interview came out, about mid-morning, the feedback started rolling in, and I just couldn't believe it. It was overwhelmingly positive. People were loving that it was being talked about. Not only that, but then they were telling us stories about themselves, about family members, about other people in ag that were struggling with mental health, and nobody ever talked about it. It became immediately apparent to me that I knew nothing about mental health. I mean, to me, you get sick, you take a medicine, you're better. Mental health just doesn't work like that. A friend described it to me like this. Every year people drown in the ocean, every year people drown in a mud puddle. What we need to do is focus on helping that person breathe and not worry about the size of the problem. It's hard because we can't see it. You can't see depression, you can't see anxiety. You can see a broken arm. In fact, if a farmer's going through chemotherapy, we've all seen it, right? Everybody gets their combine, they head over to his farm, and they get their crops harvested. But if you hear about a neighbor being depressed, or you hear about a neighbor with extreme anxiety, we don't do that. It's just a behavior that we've learned over time. We see it as a weakness when it isn't. It's an illness just like cancer or anything else. I get it, I was always the same way. Right? You had to pound through it. You didn't have time to worry about being depressed or anxious, but that's just not the case. As I interviewed more and more farmers that are suffering through this, it needs to be dealt with. Things aren't good in agriculture. Prices are low and margins are thin. The pressure can really get to a farmer. If you're feeling that pressure, please get help. It's not being a coward. In fact, it's one of the bravest things you could do for yourself or for your family. Preferably a professional. Those sometimes are hard to find, especially in the United States. The Canadians are doing a much better job at it than we are. They've started the Do More Foundation, which is only about agriculture and only about mental health. They're doing a great job taking care of their farmers. Us in the United States can definitely do better. I would love to hear your feedback on this. Please go to my website, sharkfarmer.com, and send me an email. For more videos like this, go to agriculture.com/TV.
Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great videos.